Hi guys, this is Kostas Lianos here, and today or tonight, depending on where you are, I am being joined by WWE Hall of Famer, three-time world champion, the founder of DDPY, and my very good friend, Diamond Dallas Page. Dallas, thank you so much for joining me.
Good to be here, bro. Good to be here. Good to see your face again.
It's great to see yours as well, but I'm afraid I have to kick things off with a very serious question that everybody's asking. Exactly how positively unstoppable are you feeling today?
It's really it's been unbelievable. Even though it's been COVID, it's still been an incredibly positive year for what we've been doing because the world has changed. We all know it, especially over there where you guys are at. It's like New York and LA are like completely shut down, but places like Georgia, where I live, or Florida, where I have my second home, it's like there's a pandemic, but it's not. They let people go to restaurants, and so people don't lose their businesses and stuff, So we have some restrictions, but it's not as restricted as it is everywhere else.
Yeah.
So it's kind of different, we all take it real seriously. In my house, we've all had it. My daughter never got it, but she just went and tested and she's got the antibodies. So I don't know how she couldn't have had it, because me and my girlfriend Paige, we were sick. She was really sick. And through all the pandemic and everything, it's really hurt a lot of people, but God has blessed me, in a way that I've been continuing, to be able to give my program to a lot of people that's really helped them with their, the mental, shutdown, because we're going to release those endorphins and, just breathe. It's overall, I've been really positively unstoppable still through it all.
Great to hear, man. And every time we talk, we always kick things off with DDPY. It's a fantastic fitness program. And what a time this is for DDPY. Your biographical documentary, Relentless, is out on Amazon Prime. I watched it. I loved it. I've written a review about it. Everyone can find it here in the description. And what can you tell us about the documentary? What can fans expect from Relentless?
Well, originally, we started this about 5 years ago, and it was more about letting people know about what we are as a company. Like, who are we? How did this come about? And that was the structure of it. But by the second pass through, and I hadn't seen anything yet, but the director, Nathan Mallory, who worked for me at the time, he sent it to Steve, my business partner, who's the guy who created Arthur's video. He was the director of the resurrection of Jake the Snake. He called me up and said, I want you to watch what Nathan's second pass is on this doc, because I just want to hear what you think about it. I watch it. I call him back. I go, wow, bro, this is bigger than just some information about who we are. I go, this is pretty powerful. He's like, yeah, I think so too. So he goes, I've got him research, because Steve and I have been together working with this company as friends, or working together actually with him working with me in the company for over 17 years. So, we documented Arthur Borman's journey 14 years ago. And his son did all the primary stuff, but we were still documenting it too. So the whole premise starts with me blowing out my back. Kevin Nash hit me with that power bomb, and it wasn't that exact one, but it was like that. And bottom line is that it blew my back out, basically broke my back. I was told by 3 spine specialists I was never going to be able to wrestle again. That's where DDPY comes from. The beginning part was just me doing yoga and rehab and mixing it. So it's been a journey, but over that period, less than 3 months, I'm back in the ring after I've been told by 3 spine specialists, I'm never going to wrestle again. So I knew at 42, they told me my career's over. At 43, I'm the world champ. There's something here. And there's something I'm going to have to do the rest of my life. And I just started, as you know, with the company, started to share it with people, and it kind of grew. And the documentary starts there. And it was so, all the footage that we had, it just became more and more and more powerful. And then it was actually done. This documentary was done in August of 2019, but we were helping AEW, and you guys get to see AEW over there, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And anything that's not in the ring and not backstage, and even if it's backstage, we do it most times, but like the road to, certain vignettes about different people, my company, Comeback Studios, I don't do it, but they do it, and we've got really, really talented storytellers. And so we were so busy with AEW stuff and other projects we were doing, even though the documentary was done, it never went anywhere. It kind of sat there. It didn't fall through the cracks. It just sort of sat in a hole over there. And then December of 2019, Cody, he asked me, he said, do you think he asked me in November. He asked me in November, do you think you got one more match in you? And I said, yes, immediately. And then I called them back and I go, you know what? I feel so good. I don't want to take a chance. And maybe I don't have one more. He's like, oh no, don't worry, D, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just let me know if something changes. And then it came to December and we were having a couple of drinks and, just talking. We talk all the time. And he said, maybe you got one more match in you. And what I thought about was when I tried to wrestle when I was 23, I had 3 matches in 1979. So I technically, poorly, but I technically wrestled in the 70s. And then in the 80s, 88 and 89, I actually was color commentator and a manager for Dusty Rhodes' promotion that he had down there called Florida Championship Wrestling.
Yep.
And my wrestler, who is called Big Steel Man, people will know him better as Tugboat or Shockmaster, Fred Ottmer. I was managing him, and he was wrestling Dick Slater. Dickie Slater, if he beat Big Steel Man, he got 5 minutes with me. Well, he beat him, and I had to get in the ring with Slater for 5 minutes. And if you watch it back, it's like semi-watchable, but I technically had a match in the 80s. Then I had an unbelievable run in the 90s, 2000. And then in 2010, Glacier asked me if I would do this show in Rome, Georgia, where Arn Anderson's from, which is about 40 miles from me. So I thought, man, if I do that in 2010, I'll have 5 decades. And I did that match. And then when Cody asked me at that time in December, me thinking January, I would have 6 decades of having at least 1 match per decade. And I don't know how many people can say that, but it's not many. And I thought, I'm going to do it. Plus, I was thinking about the risk and reward. There's a lot of risk because I could break my neck. I could tear my ACL. At the time, I was 2 months from 64 years old. And once I got it out of my head, and I got totally in my head, this is going to be this is how I'm going to sail out of the business. It turned into something that was really, really special. Now, would it have been as special with no people there? No way. It would never have been all that. But having 10,000 people there, they're not just regular wrestling fans. They're AEW wrestling fans. And AEW wrestling fans are crazy passionate. The only thing I could put them next to would be the ECW crowd, just different. And man, it was so much fun. Jake Roberts sent me a text. No ring rust? WTF. Dude, you killed it. I mean, he was my mentor and one of the best workers ever, is blown away by me at 64 in the ring. And to go out like I did, the next morning I woke up next to my girlfriend, Paige, and I said, by the way, my girlfriend's first name is really Paige.
I know.
And
Paige.
And her last, and her last name's McMahon.
Oh, really? Lots of questions.
Kind of funny.
There.
No relationship. They just happen to spell their name exactly the same. When Jericho heard that, that night we were down there to do the match, he popped. He popped. But because it's just funny, serendipitous. But the next morning I looked at Paige and I said, I know why we haven't released Relentless. And she said, why? Because she knew I was like, we've got to release this documentary. It's done. We got to do it. And she said, why? I said, because this has to be in it. Like, how can this not be in it? And
the
so,
climax.
Yeah, man, like starting with Kev, hit me with a power bomb, and the spine specialists, 3 of the best in the world, telling me I'm never going to wrestle again. And here I am at 2 months from 64, 22 years later. Like, it proves everything I say about my program. And the way we tell the story, as you know, you've seen it. I talk about the bad times. I talk about the times where Mr. Positivity is second guessing himself, and wondering, because it was $100, $200, $300,000 invested, $400, $500. Now it was $548,000 that I invested in the company and never taken a dime yet.
Almost your entire pension fund. Almost your entire pension fund.
Yeah, man. I just bet it all on black, and the things that got, because a lot of people do quit. And the reason why I didn't quit is because I put the work in, and I would look back to my wrestling career. It took me 8 years to be an overnight success.
Yep.
Because 1997 rolled around. I started in 1988 as a manager and a color commentator in the AWA. Worked with Dusty in Florida Championship Wrestling. Came into WCW. First 3.5 years, it cost me money to be Diamond Dallas Page. It was just an idea I had, but I knew I belonged. Still not thinking about wrestling, because I'm figuring I'm too old. When I started the managing career at 31, but now I get to WCW and I'm 35. And then 7 months in, they're telling me that, we can't let you manage anymore. I'm like, what did I do wrong? Like, what, and like, you didn't. It's really not your fault. But the hair, the bling, the clothes. I bring out this picture when hold on, I got to find this one picture that's around here. They moved them.
Lots of pictures there in the back. Lots of pictures there in the
crazy,
back.
Right? But this picture says it all. Like that guy was too over the top for professional wrestling, if you can really take that in, as a manager. And so I had 7 months left on my contract. Yeah. So I went down to the power plant, and every single day I was there. I was the first to come, last to leave. I set the precedent there.
Yeah.
And it took, an additional 4 years. And I went from kind of obscurity to main event star, pay-per-view main event star. And it was an unbelievable journey. So I knew that I'd already done that before. If I can just hang in there. And most businesses fail for 3 reasons: the idea, not enough money, timing. The number one reason why businesses fail out of those top 3 is timing. And when I started, the internet was really way down here.
Yep.
You know, I put up my site in 2004,
was it? 6.
Sorry?
Was it 2004 or 2006?
2004 was the book.
Yeah.
The first thing we did was yoga for regular guys. Let me get that, because
YRG,
you can't, if you can't find this book for under like $70, because they only made like 30,000 of them. So, and I didn't want to reprint them because I had moved on from there. That was like our platform, that I created something different. And then we had a DVD series, and then another DVD series that wasn't just DVDs. It was also inspirational stuff and showing you how to track with 6 pictures and measurements, starting to build a base for people's success. That's what Arthur came out of, just the DVDs, the original ones. And I talked to him, so I gave him the inspirational stuff. I gave him the way to track. I gave him the way to eat. And that guy's transformation was in 2007. Again, in 2005 and 6, we had done the videos and they were up on YouTube. I had no idea what YouTube was. Either did anybody else till much later. And sharing videos and going viral, there was no such thing. But when I got together with Steve Yu and we rebranded the company DDP Yoga, and DDP Yoga will always be the name of the company. DDPY is the acronym for DDP Yoga. And I just really been focused on people branding it DDPY. Why? Because I want people to stop calling it just effing yoga, because it's not. And I don't want to be put in that box. I love yoga. I think it's amazing, but it's not really what we do. It's different. And I'm constantly reinventing the program. So Relentless is the ups and the downs. And I stay down here while I'm working my ass off, but I keep going, getting sucked down with emotional gravity. I talk about it. And I mean, I lost my house on it because, I wasn't bringing in any money, and all the money I'm putting in isn't bringing in any money. So the journey was, you had to really believe in it. And one of the things that I got, like anybody who got my program early on, like back in Arthur's days in 2006 and 2007, I would send them an email thanking them for getting the program, investing in it, and believing in me. And I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just love you to answer these 6 questions. Arthur answered them unbelievably. So I sent them back. Now, I've never talked to anybody on the line like this yet, because again, it's totally foreign to me. So I sent them back an email saying, it sounds like you need some help. Well, tell me a little about yourself. And his next cliff notes were morbidly obese, 100% disabled veteran. I've relegated the thinking of myself as a piece of furniture. That's when I sent him my phase 3 eating plan. And I said, what do you think about this? Now, if he writes back, I think I can do it, or I'll give it a shot, I say, awesome, keep me posted. But he didn't say that. He said, I can do this. I said, send me your phone number. And so when I sent Steve Yu to film him, I was in LA at the time, living there still. Actually, at that point, my entire house was now in a pod, all my furniture, everything. And it was staying at wherever they keep the pods, because I got the clothes on my back in two bags, and I don't even have a place to stay at that time. Now, I still had enough money to get a house and get set up and all that. I wasn't 100% broke, but I put a lot into this, and it wasn't paying off. And that's the story. That's the journey to get here. It's just like my acting career. I've been working on that for 22 years. And now I've got a show coming out on Netflix called Guardians of Justice. And it'll be out probably by summer. It'll be out. And it's something I've been working on for years. I'm one of the producers of it. And the journey to get to that, I mean, it's just crazy. But again, I'm relentless. And
we know.
I'm pleasantly persistent. If I really believe in something, I'm going to tell you about it. Like a lot of people say, man, you're one of the greatest salesmen I've ever seen. I go, I ain't selling you shit. I'm passionate about what I'm doing. And I know, like absolutely positive, no, it's going to help you. So, if I really think you need it, I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but just yesterday, Joe Rogan had the Undertaker.
I know, and we will get to this, Dallas. We will get to this, but I gotta say,
so go ahead.
Something I really liked about the documentary is that, I mean, I'm a big wrestling fan, and that's what initially brought us together 3 years ago. But I really like that. I really like the fact that the documentary concentrates on DDPY, on your life after wrestling, if you know what I mean. I felt like that was a really good touch in the documentary. And was that the purpose of it? Just mainly concentrating on DDPY?
Yeah, well, yeah. Remember, originally we put it to what we were doing with our company, because we wanted people to understand like who we are and what we do. Like our mission statement is to empower others to think beyond traditional, just traditional means, to find inspiration in adversity, and be the most trusted fitness company on the planet. Like that is our credence, to inspire people, to empower them to believe in themselves. That's what Relentless is. Like the reviews that people have written, some of them make, cheer me up. Let me read one for you. This one I thought was amazing, because this guy shot from the hip and was totally honest with where he was going. And his name is what?
Is that Albert?
No, not Albert. It wasn't that. That's Albert him writing me. This is a review that someone left on after seeing Relentless. Mm-hmm. He writes, admittedly, there are a few moments when I felt like I was watching the most well-produced infomercial ever. It's about my company. So of course, but I thought it was just funny and very cool the way he said it, like the most well-produced infomercial ever. And then he says, nonetheless, it's pretty damn epic. And this is what I really love. He said, it's pretty damn epic. And in these unstable times, it's quite inspiring to see how the positive intention behind DDPY rippled out into the world to create positive change. That's powerful. And then he writes, and I love this, I've had the DVD set sitting around my house for a while. but I think I'm finally going to give it a shot instead of merely having it and pretending that's good enough. And then he writes, that great? That great? And then he says, the DDPY crew is making the world a better place. And this film documents that fact.
Yes.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Well, I mean, one of the many great things about DDPY is the success stories. And one of the most notable success stories, in my opinion, is WWE Champion and Britain's own Drew McIntyre, who you know very well. You hung out when he joined WWE and got injured on NXT, and you helped him get back together. That was his first ever serious injury, and you helped him get back together with DDPY. Tell us, what kind of state was he physically and mentally back then? And what kind of advice did you give him that maybe helped him climb up the mountain?
You know, I have had a relationship with Drew from back when, not when he was at the top, because when he came in, they pushed him to the top.
Yeah.
I caught him on the descent.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the most humble, sweetest guy. You know, in the beginning, admittedly, he was like, doesn't everybody get this big push at 22 years old? No, nobody does, you know? So he thought it was just the way it was done. He didn't realize, and he didn't understand the politics of the business. And on his downscent, that's where we started to talk. And then they let him go. I mean, all you got to do is look at him now, because he's the same cat, but he's way better. Mm-hmm. He's way better emotionally. Drew, and he will be the first to say this, needed to have it all taken away from him. This cat, I have so much respect for him on so many levels. And you know, I've been saying he's going to be the man in the world, the number one guy. A decade ago, when he, 6 years ago, when he first came back, and everybody, when he didn't really pop, they were like, so do you still think Drew's going to be the guy? And I said, yeah. When they finally let him be Drew, when they let him be the real cat, like this cat has the work ethic that Triple H, The Rock, or I have. Like those are the guys. And Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, those guys, they have insane work ethics. And that's what, and they have talent, and they have the passion all the way through. John Cena's in that group, guys who just have insane work ethic. And Drew coming out, like watching his story up on the docs that they've done on him. And when he shows up in Glasgow, and I think it's ICW, I believe it was.
Yeah, that's how I remember it as well.
With ICW, and he cuts that promo.
Yeah.
And if I got $100,000, I'm betting it all on him, because that guy, he needed that fire lit under his ass. And then the way he came back and the way he worked, and then he got that big push coming in, because now they're like, okay, he's ready. And then he got hurt. Right? And that's where I call him up. And I say, bro, just want you to know, I'm still here. When you're ready, come up here and let me work with you to help take this to, just your whole game to another level. And when he got ready, this is who Drew McIntyre is. He drove 7.5 hours to get to me, stayed with me for 4 hours. We worked out when he got there privately. Then he worked out with my class of people, 60 people working out with me. Yeah. Then he watched Relentless when it was halfway done. And he was blown away by that. Then he drove 7 hours back. And Drew and I, we talk all the time. And there was some times where I know it was getting tough, because they hadn't done anything with him yet. And it looked like, why is he in this angle with this guy? Why is he putting him over? I'm just like, breathe, breathe through it, know who you are. You're going to get that opportunity. It's going to happen. And he believed it. And that's the biggest thing. If you look at Relentless, even though I second guess myself at times, I knew that DDPY is going to be a household name, like just like Diamond Dallas Page was.
Yes.
You know, it's the same thing. And he saw it and he believed in himself and he kept working. And look where he's at now. I mean, because this guy, even though they're not working all the days on the road, Drew works every single day. Every day he's doing promotion out the ears. He like put that company on my shoulders, just like John Cena did back when, I guess it would have been like 2002 or 2003, whenever Cena came in and they gave him that big push. Within a year, that cat was like carrying the company on his back, just like Shawn Michaels did.
Yeah.
You know, like Undertaker has done, you know, for 20 years plus. You know, like there's certain guys who take it on and you have to do all the other stuff that comes with it. It's not just going out there and having a great match and keeping your body healthy and looking great. You've also got to do all this other things that build the anticipation. And only the guys with crazy passion can do that.
Exactly. And look at him now. Like he's gonna face one guy you also know really, really well from your WCW days, Goldberg, at the Royal Rumble. So how is it working with Goldberg? And I was wondering, like, I've been talking to you for ages and you've given me such great stories from your career. Like we were talking about Dennis Rodman in our most recent interview. You gave me such anecdotes. Do you have any funny anecdotes with Goldberg, maybe?
Oh God, I love Goldie. First of all, we just did his documentary just came out, you know, The Streak. And it's, I mean, I was the guy who put his hands on Eric Bischoff's shoulders when he was like 30-0, and you knew something's really special here. And I just came up from behind him and just said, don't let anybody fuck this up, bro. This cat's special. You know, and I knew it when I met him in a night. I met him in a strip joint 5 years before he ever got in the business. We were drinking. We were right next to each other, and he knew who I was, and I didn't know him at that point, but I knew this cat is a lot of fun to be around. He had a full head of hair. You know, he just had this charisma about him. And then when he told me his name was Bill Goldberg, I knew Bill Goldberg because he played for Georgia. He was a badass. He never really found his right stride in the NFL because of injuries, but he sure found it in wrestling.
Yeah.
And when Billy first came in, like he was down the power plant every single day. Well, when I come off the road, because I was, you know, my career was taking off. But when I come home, I'd still go down to power plant and I work with Bill. So we already had some kind of knowledge of working with each other. Well, now he was the powerhouse, got to go through everybody. So I mean, everything in that match in Halloween Havoc was mine. You know, I'm the leader. He couldn't have been at that time. He was only wrestling for about 1 year and 4 months.
Yeah.
You got to think about that. Like Bill, you had to, he was such an incredible athlete. Like, excuse me, I didn't come up with everything. He said, sweep my legs and I'll land on my feet. I said, I'm going to sweep your legs so you fall on your back. He goes, nope, I'm going to land on my feet. I was like, okay. And he did that. And I was like, wow. You know,
I saw that.
The funny story of me and Billy on that match was, and I talked about this in his documentary, like I told Bill, I said, you know, what's going to be amazing is when we work, you're going to miss the first spear. He looked at me and he went, no, I'm not. And I said, no, you're gonna. It's going to be amazing. He's like, no, I'm not missing the spear, bro. And it took me 2.5 weeks to convince him that he was going to miss the spear because it was a psychology. So when he gets it, whoa, if you watch that match and he comes running and I kick him and he staggers back and he comes at me, or you think he threw me in the turnbuckle or something, and he's coming at me, he's not coming at me to miss me. He's coming at me to get me. And your job is to be gone, meaning me. And man, if you watch as he's running at me, I just get out of the way. I mean, it's like, it's a sliver. It's a sliver. And Bill kept going and he really hit his shoulder. And that's how Bill wanted to work. He wanted to feel it. He wanted to, because he could, he would bang his head off the lockers before he went out there. If you look, sometimes there's red blood coming down his fucking face.
Yeah, we've seen that.
Billy wanted it to be snug as it could be. And when he hit me with that spear, the funny part is I always say, like, I'm a napkin. Like, let a napkin go. Like, you just go. You hit me, you're never going to hit me. You're going to be hitting a napkin because I'm going to be gone. Well, if you watch that part of the match and the body is coming down, here's his head. My body's not hitting first and then going through. Here's his head that hits first.
I saw that as well, yeah.
If he didn't have those crazy traps, he might have freaking been a quadriplegic. But he did, and he was knocked out the whole rest of the match.
Yeah.
Like, did not know, because I was mad as hell when he kicked out at 2 instead of 2 9/10. But, that was what it was. And I go, what the hell, dude? He's like, dude, I was knocked out the whole time. I don't, when he picked me up for the jackhammer and put me down, I thought, oh my God, he's selling. But his shoulder was killing him and he knocked himself out. So, and well, he didn't knock you out. Well, I guess he did. I just got the hell out of the way because when Bill came through with that spear, So your job to get the hell out of the way. So that's something. It's one of my. I have 4 matches that are my favorite. First one was Savage, the 4-way dance where I win the world title, Goldberg and me where I lose the match him, and Sting Nitro where I drop the strap to Sting and I win it back later that night. Those are 4 matches I will put anywhere, and they were dreams come true,
True. And you beat me to it a few minutes ago, because back 3 years ago when we met in London, you told me Drew McIntyre is going to become the first ever British.
Yeah.
You did call this, and now you need to make another prediction. Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg. Who's winning this?
Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre. Sure. Absolutely. I can't imagine it being any other way. Bill has been such a dominating force. When Bill does the job, it's from the younger, stronger wrestler. Drew McIntyre looks better than the He-Man doll, and you can tell it's 100% natural on him. He's just a stud. He's 6'5", he's 265. He's got that incredible work ethic. I've seen him have some of the greatest matches. That big son of a bitch can do, I remember seeing him and Johnny Morrison just do stuff. And they were at the bottom of the card. That's when he was on his descent down. He was doing main event, incredible and crazy stuff. that's where I really realized that he really was something special, and he's got to go away so he can come back. And it really worked out exactly the way it was supposed to. And I'll tell you, one of the things that makes Drew and I so tight, like, he was a huge fan. And one of the things, and we talk about work ethic, the whole time he trained to be a wrestler, he's going to university. Like, he has his university degree.
Yep.
He's
Indeed.
not just some wrestler, that just started wrestling. That's all he knows. Like, he's an intelligent cat. I mean, look at that. Now he's got his own show on that he does, Drew Q&A with Drew, or whatever it's called, where he's watching him interview Matthew McConaughey the other day. He's going to be a really amazing beacon for the company, just like Cody Rhodes is in AEW. Both completely different animals, but equally as valuable. Both really smart guys and great work ethics.
True, that's very true. But we have seen Goldberg dethroning Kevin Owens. We have seen Goldberg dethrone Bray Wyatt, and to be honest, that didn't go down exceptionally well with the WWE universe. So, how would you feel if Goldberg actually does dethrone Drew McIntyre? Do you think that's a good idea at this point?
I don't think so. Bill doesn't need it.
Yeah.
I mean, they you know what they need Bill for? They need Bill because he's a star. Bill Goldberg is a damn icon. Bill Goldberg's in what I used to call the Roddy Piper spot.
Mm-hmm.
And the Roddy Piper spot is you go away for a little while, you come back, and the place goes crazy. Now, we don't have the fans there right now, but if they were at home, they're going crazy. And they want to see that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be long. I loved Bill's match with Brock. After Brock put him over huge, Bill put him over in the middle like it should be. And Bill, it elevated him,
True.
So again, Bill doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. He'll always be at that upper echelon spot forever.
True.
It's like Sting. He's never going to go anywhere. Kevin Nash, never going to go anywhere. Jake the Snake Roberts will never go. He'll always be there. Scott Hall, guys who've been to that mountain. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, will always be in that mecca of guys that just were bigger than, I don't want to say bigger than the business, but they're right up there with it. And Goldie has proved it time in and time out. And you bring them in when you need some ratings. That's what you do, because the son of a bitch can still go in his 50s, just like Jericho. And I'm not comparing their work at all, okay? Because Jericho's a different animal, but they're both in their 50s and they're both friggin' main event stars.
True, absolutely true. And I told you we were going to go to the big wrestling scoop of the day, Undertaker and Joe Rogan. Taker made it clear that he is planning on calling you. You made it clear that your door is always open to the Undertaker. So, I mean, I guess I got a two-part question here. I mean, A, has he called you yet? And B, what exactly is your relationship with the Undertaker? Because we've heard so much about your invasion angle, about you two having a bit of heat there. And what is your relationship right now, basically?
Well, coming in there, you got to remember, it was a different time. And I never realized how much heat the company had with the WCW guys. I didn't realize that. I thought, well, guys, you got one. We're gonna draw money together. It was a different time. I consider Mark a friend. I consider him like when we were together. I can't remember where we were, but he brought up to me what I was. He'd seen Resurrection.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, that was so what you've done for the boys. And, he knows that, that's what I love to do. I love to help the guys out. He is he's a monster icon, and he's a cat that if he wanted, if he really wanted to, I just appreciate him saying nice things about it. I mean, you're talking to Rogan, and Rogan put it over crazy big, but for Take even to say, I got to call him, he knows, his wife knows. Whenever he's ready, I'll fly down there to help him. You know what I mean? And just to get him started. Because I know that when guys are at that spot, they're they're just so tight, and I know I can help them, and it would make my day, to help them. I'd have these same discussions with Sting, Sting at certain points, we got to get together, and I'm like, hey, dude, let's get together. Well, I'm feeling a little better now, and it's just old school. And Taker, I consider him, one of my bros. He's, we're all family, all of us. I just think that. The career and the run that he had, and it kept coming back and still going out there and killing it. I know the miles that are on the body, and I want to say he's maybe about 9 years younger than me. How old is he now? Is he 54, 55?
I think he's 50, or maybe 55, 54, 55.
Yeah, I thought he was 9 years younger than me. Yeah. I know where my body was at 55. And when I turned 60, it was a different league. It was like a different time. Even with all the stuff I've done. Now, I've done a lot more stuff over these last 5 years that have taken my body to a different level. So it's all the things I could share, especially with someone like Take, because he can afford it. And the stuff that I get, like hyperbaric chambers and infrared saunas and all this stuff that really helps break up scar tissue in your body and helps not just heal your body, but heal your mind. Like one of the things with Daniel Bryan is the best example. They put him out the pasture, because of concussions.
True.
When he was I think we were at Mania, and when he had come back, and I was backstage. And I wanted to ask him, because I thought I knew, but I wanted to ask him. And I did. And I said, so how are you back in the ring? I said, is it the hyperbaric chamber? And he said, yes. Mm-hmm. You see, what a hyperbaric chamber is, I learned it originally from Kobe, LeBron, guys like that. LeBron spends $1 million a year on his body. So does Brian Russell. No, what's Russell? He's a quarterback for the Seahawks. He spends $1 million on his body a year, because it's not just the deep muscle massage therapy and chiropractic and all that shit. These cats are doing stuff like I'm doing. Tom Brady, same thing. And when you've put yourself through, the run that Take had, is just unbelievable. And you got to go and start healing the body. It's not just like my workout can definitely help him, but it's what I eat. It's, time that I spend in the hyperbaric chamber, infrared sauna, steam room, all the things that help get your body mobile and moving. And I know that's the kind of stuff. That's why I would love him to come here for a couple of days. And, and then he'd really get to see, like, these are all the things I have. And this is why I have them, to help knock off some of the rust, because we're all the boys and girls. The girls, they have no idea. These women today are, the really top elite ones are wrestling on men's levels, and some of them farther, with the amazing stunts that they can do, but the impact that they're putting on their bodies. Like if you go back to, let's just use Braveheart as an example. Mm-hmm. There was no women out there fighting because women's bodies aren't made for armor. They're not made to have the impact that these women who are superheroes to me today, from soccer, UFC, basketball, and WWE, AEW. These girls are taking the impact on their body at a different level.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea what's coming, like in their 50s and 60s. And again, I deal with women who get to their 40s because they played soccer and they played it at an elite level,
mm-hmm.
but they're in their 40s
mm-hmm.
and they are so beat up.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're not doing some kind of yoga, and women, they dig yoga. Guys, not really.
Yeah.
That's why, again, brand it DDPY, because it just ain't your mama's yoga.
Exactly.
This is yoga. It's yoga for people who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga, like Jake, like Scott, bringing someone like Drew is smart enough. He's going to do whatever it takes to keep him in the ring and keeping him lasting, because he's got a 10-year run ahead of him, if he wants it, being on top. So
True.
It's all about staying healthy, and he gets that. And I just sent him my DDPY Jack straps. That's my next level of what we're doing. Tommaso Ciampa loves them. He turned me on. It's called BFR, blood flow restriction training. And he turned me on to it. I didn't even know about it. And it's this thing called Be Strong. You pump them up like a blood pressure cuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that right in there, right in the seam of your bicep. And I liked them if I was lifting weights, but I don't lift weights because I had to pump them up, do the set, and I do it with just air,
Mm-hmm.
Then I pop them, then I have to pump them up again. With my DDPY Jack straps, you can jack them up, they're there, do the set, whatever we're doing, pop them, they go back to normal.
Yeah.
So this is something I developed with a company called Rock Cuffs, and they are using my branding, DDPY Jacked, on their straps now. So pretty cool honor. And we partnered up, me and this guy Chet, and it's taking my training level to just another level, and this is for more of the P90X type crowd people,
Mm-hmm.
but anyone at any level can do them. They're mainly used for rehab,
Mm-hmm.
rehabilitation, helping get blood back into the muscle. And that's how your body heals faster. So we got a whole campaign coming out in 2021, which is going to put this on the map. In 2022, everybody will be talking about DDPY Jacked.
I'm looking very much forward to this. If we could go back to the predictions, though, as we start to close the interview.
Sure.
Men's Royal Rumble, Women's Royal Rumble. Who's winning it? Who's winning those two?
Oh, dude. I haven't spent enough time watching everything right now to really give you an honest prediction on that. Who do you think's going to win?
I'll help you out. Okay, so let's start with women. I am thinking Bianca Belair or Alexa Bliss in terms of those who are confirmed, or Becky Lynch comes back. I don't know.
Oh, Becky Lynch, but Becky, did she have her baby?
She's had the baby. I mean, I don't know anything about that. You know more than me.
I don't know any of that. I have no idea what would happen there. But the play again, to waste Becky Lynch coming back with no people yet, you know what I mean? It's like, I would wait for that no matter what, because they would all lose their minds. But Bianca, I know from NXT, because I was down there back when she was just getting on TV and NXT, and she had the gimmick. She's a good-looking girl, and she's a great athlete. That girl, she's the real deal. I watched one of the videos that they put together on her, and her athletic, prowess is just, off the charts. So not knowing Shayna Baszler, is she in it?
She could win it, actually. She could actually do it. It's so difficult to pick up a favorite this year in general, both matches.
Yeah. And Lacey Evans, like that girl came on but she came on strong though in the beginning, man. And I think that they haven't really found their way with her because she's a big personality. But I want to take, if Shayna Baszler's in it and Bianca, I'll say between them.
Yeah,
Good to see.
That's a good shout. And for the men, I'm thinking a return like The Fiend or Edge or Brock Lesnar. I just can't see any of the, maybe Randy Orton again. I don't know. I'm thinking a return on this one.
Yeah, I can't even pick that. You know, I haven't paid enough attention to it. The women, I could throw those two in there because again, they're both big stars, potentially huge stars. You know, so something like that for Bianca would really like take her to a different level. We'll do the same thing for Shayna though, too. But I don't know if she needs it. Like I say, I will be watching. I'll be watching because I want to see how Drew does with Goldberg. I think it'll be good. I don't think it'll be long. You know, it doesn't need to be. You know, Drew's a pro out there, and so is Goldberg. I think they'll deliver.
Yeah. And final question: Mount Rushmore of WWE, of wrestling, actually. Who's there?
Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Jake.
Mm-hmm. How about Dusty?
Yo, Dust is right there for me personally. He would be there. But for fans who friggin' don't know him that well like that, for me, he's there. You know, and the other guys, you know, either Taker or Hulk. In this scenario today, I'm going to pick. I'm going to take Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Ric Flair. Rowdy fucking Piper. And Jake Roberts. So that's my pick today. Stone Cold. And yeah, I think that's my four. You got him?
Yeah, Stone Cold, Ric Flair, Roddy Piper, and Jake the Snake Roberts.
You know, that's a hell of a team right there, bro.
That is a hell of a team there. Dallas, it is always a great pleasure talking. I could talk to you forever. I was Kostas Lianos. Everybody, go and watch Relentless. It's on Amazon Prime. And download DDPY app. Works miracles, is going to change your life. Thank you so much, Dallas.
Hey, it's been your pleasure, brother. See ya.
Absolutely.
Bang!